We're going to talk for a few minutes about the magic number this November, 270, as in 270 electoral votes to win the presidency. Let's get some insights now, as we always do, from former Bush senior advisor Karl Rove and Democratic strategist Joe Trippi. First, let's look at the map. The latest map, as you lay it out, you can see the info on the key there. Red states Romney, blue states Obama. Then pinkish is lean Romney, light blue, lean Obama. And the yellow states, those are toss-up states within the margin of error. This is all based on polls within the last 30 days. Okay, gentlemen. Karl, what's changed?
Well, we have a minor change to Barack Obama's advantage. Connecticut with 7 electoral votes goes from lean Obama to solid Obama, but then the good news ends there. 2 states, Nevada with 6 and Michigan with 16, shift from lean Obama to toss-up. We now have 9 states with 122 electoral votes that are now toss-up. This is the largest number of toss-up states that we've had since we began tracking in April, largest number of electoral college votes as well.
Of those changes, what's most important, Joe?
Well, those two mean suddenly there's a lot of different ways for Mitt Romney to make it. We've been talking for weeks about the 3-2-1 strategy, but now you can lose a state like Virginia, one of the 3, Indiana, North Carolina, and Virginia that he has to win, or we thought he had to win to have a shot. You can lose one of those states now because so many states have gone into toss-up. Nevada, Michigan, Wisconsin, those 3 states, you win them, and you can start to lose some of the 3-2-1 states, which is something the Obama campaign could not have possibly been thinking about this late in the game.
Karl, as we point out, this is over 30 days. You guys moved Texas into dark red because you just said it is. But Georgia is the same way, right?
Well,
Tennessee,
fact,
Kentucky?
Yeah, we've got 35 electoral college votes called lean Romney in Georgia, Tennessee, and Kentucky. They're called that because the last poll we have is some time ago. But I personally think those 35 electoral college votes are actually in Romney's column. And if you do that, think about that for a minute. The solid Obama states, 14 of them, represent 184 electoral college votes. If you add Kentucky, Tennessee, and Georgia to the 19 states that Romney now has with 146 electoral college votes, you add those 3 states with 35, and it is 184 to 181 in solid states for each candidate. And the rest of it is up for grabs.
Joe, talk about a convention bounce. You know, we don't really see one as of yet. It's a little tough. It's a holiday weekend, and you've got the Democratic convention this week. For the Republicans, what are they looking for?
Well, usually the party that's out of power in the presidency gets, the non-incumbent party gets about a 5-point bump. That's the average. I'd expect something like that for Romney. The problem is we're not going to be able to see it, I don't think, not completely, because, as you said, we're here at the Democratic convention. That's going to start the pendulum swinging the other way. And, you know, I think later on we'll have to see how big the gap is, but I think the bounce itself might be masked by how close these conventions are together.
I think this, in the modern era, is only the second time we've had the conventions back-to-back. And I agree with Joe. We're likely to see the effect of the bounce sort of mitigated by that. We ought to take a look at the Gallup poll and others a couple of weeks before the Republican convention and take a look at them a couple of weeks at the Democratic convention, and we'll see how the respective party bounces settle out.
Here in North Carolina, it's tied on this map. Recent polls are really tight here. Shouldn't Romney be leading in North Carolina?
Well, Romney is actually, if you take a look at the recent polls, for example, new poll out today from Elon University and the Charlotte Observer, where he's up by 4. This number, again, this is the strength and the weakness of averaging these polls together. We will drop off this week the earliest poll in the last month, which is also, incidentally, the best poll for President Obama. This state is going to, in the next couple of weeks, trend into, and I wouldn't be surprised to see in a couple of weeks North Carolina be a lean Romney state on the basis of dropping out these older polls.
Joe, we talk a lot about the iPad app that people can download, and they are downloading it, making their own maps, comparing the maps that you and Karl have done. You have one that you picked out from a guy who put together his choices.
Yeah, Ryan Collins put this up, used the app and put it up. And what I found interesting about it, the reason I wanted to share it, is it shows why it's so important that Nevada and Michigan went into toss-up this week. He has Barack Obama winning Virginia, which is something I think is likely to happen or could very well happen. But then the question was, with the 3-2-1 strategy, Virginia being one of the must-wins, how do you win without it? And now that he has Nevada going for Romney and Wisconsin. So you add Wisconsin and Nevada together, and it makes up for Virginia and Romney. gets to 275 scares me. But keep these coming in. I think there have been some very interesting ones.
In other words, you have different equations that can get you there.
Right. For example, New York Times had a story this weekend. If Romney were to lose Ohio, if you look at the battleground states, there are 11 other ways by which he can replace those 18 electoral college votes. Here in this map from Ryan, we have Virginia with 13 electoral college votes going to Obama, and he replaces it by a combination of Nevada and Wisconsin. You could also get it by Wisconsin and New Hampshire, for example, or by Michigan in and of itself, just without the others.
But does the president have the same option about stringing states together?
The guy who's on offense always has a better shot to string together a different set of states. The guy on the defense is playing defense.
Obama could still, the one thing that's consistent, if he could stop Romney in Ohio and Virginia, very tough. It's still possible for Romney to get there, but very, very difficult to do.
On this map, Missouri is lean Romney. Karl, I have to ask you about this comment that was from a private get-together, a fundraiser, I guess, a meeting, in which you said about the Senate candidate there, quote, "We should sink Todd Akin if he's found mysteriously murdered. Don't look for my whereabouts."
Well, not exactly the quote, but close enough.
The one that they put out there.
Right. This was a comment made in an intemperate remark made in a private conversation. When it became public, I started dialing up the numbers I had for Todd Akin. Congressman Akin called him, apologized for the intemperate remark. He couldn't have been more gracious and kind in accepting my apology, and I wished I hadn't said it in private, but when it came public, the right thing to do was to call him, and I did.
You regret it?
Yeah, look, I mean, again, exasperated comment in private. Yeah, I wished I hadn't said it, but I did, and when it became public, the best thing to do was to call him and apologize, and I did.
I've never made an intemperate remark, ever.
We'll leave it there.
Your children would leave you their dirty clothes on the floor? No, I don't think so.
We'll leave it there. Gentlemen, as always, thank you. We'll see you next week.